My name is Ethan. I'm 25 years old now, but this story begins when I was just a quiet 16-year-old boy growing up in a small town in the Philippines. I wasn't poor, I wasn't lazy, I wasn't stupid, but I was silent. Every time someone spoke English, I froze. In class, in front of people, on the internet. My lips would stay shut. My mind would go blank, and I hated myself for it. I remember one afternoon in high school. We had a speaking activity. Everyone had to say one thing about their dream. I stood up. My heart was pounding, my palms were wet. And in front of 32 students, I opened my mouth. But my English came out like this. I want to go America, be doctor. They laughed, not loudly, but I could hear it. And that soft laughter, it was enough to kill every drop of confidence inside me. I sat down. My ears burned. My eyes held back tears. And in that moment, I promised myself something dark. I will never speak English again. Here's the truth people don't talk about. I understood English. I could read it. I could write it. But speaking, that was my prison. People thought I was dumb. Even my teachers gave up on me. In group projects, they'd say, "Just let Ethan do the typing. He doesn't talk anyway." Do you know how that feels? To be invisible in every room, to have ideas and dreams, but no voice? I started believing what people said about me. You're shy. You're not good with English. You're quiet. But I wasn't quiet. I was scared. When I turned 19, I got a job in a call center, night shift. They needed English-speaking agents. I lied and said I could speak. They gave me a headset and 1 week to prove myself. First call, I panicked. The client said, "Hi, can you help me reset my password?" I said, Yes, sir. You give me password. I reset? You?" He got angry. He said, "Are you even trained to speak English?" That night, I didn't go home. I sat on the rooftop of the building looking at the city lights and cried. I can't live like this. I don't want to feel like a failure forever. I took a deep breath and said something that changed my life. If I can think in Tagalog, I can train my brain to think in English too. No more translating. No more fear. That night, I deleted all my grammar apps. I took my English books and kept them aside. I said, "From now, I will not study English. I will live in English." Every thought, every word, every feeling, I would try to think it in English. Not perfect, not beautiful, just English. I started small. At home, I would look at a spoon and say, "This is a spoon. It's shiny. I use it to eat soup." I did this with everything. Mirror? I see my face. I am tired, but I will not stop. Clothes? This shirt is blue. It smells like detergent. I was reprogramming my brain like a baby learning language. One object, one sentence, one thought at a time. And the craziest part? It started working. After 1 week, I noticed something strange. When I saw my bag, I didn't think bag in Tagalog. I thought it directly in English. No translation, no delay, just English. One night, after 2 weeks of this crazy new routine, I had a dream. In the dream, I was talking to my future boss. We were discussing a project. I was speaking English, fluently. And when I woke up, I sat up in shock. I just dreamed in English. My brain is learning. It felt like magic. But it wasn't magic. It was method. And this moment was the beginning of a journey that changed my entire life. That dream showed me something I had never felt before. That my brain was starting to trust English. That maybe, just maybe, I wasn't stuck anymore. I had spoken English in my sleep, and now I wanted to speak it in real life, even if nobody was listening. So that morning, before I touched my phone, before I brushed my teeth, I sat up straight and said my first words of the day, out loud, in English. I am awake, I feel tired, but I am ready. Today, I will speak English. That's where my new life began. I stopped studying English and started living inside it. I said out loud, I am not weak. I am not lazy. I am not stupid. I am just doing it the wrong way. I had spent years trying to study English, but not one day trying to live in English, and that became my new mission. From now on, I will stop studying English. I will train my brain to think in English, just like I think in my native language. Not by reading rules, not by memorizing books, but by living inside the language. That was my promise to myself. I didn't know exactly how I would do it, but I knew this. If I can train my brain to think in my own language, then I can also train it to think in English. When I woke up the next day, I didn't check my phone like I used to. I sat in silence for a minute, and I said slowly, I am awake. My body is tired, but I am breathing. I am here. I will speak English today, even if only with myself. I looked around my room. I saw a chair and said, This is a chair. It is made of wood. It is strong. I sit on it. I touched my blanket. This is soft. I like it. I opened the window. The air is cool. I see the trees. The sky is gray. It may rain. Was it simple? Yes. Was it powerful? More than anything I had done before. Because for the first time in my life, I was thinking in English without fear. There was no teacher. There was no pressure. There was no test. Just me. And the words I knew. My first rule: keep it simple but speak daily. I didn't try to use big words. I didn't try to be smart. I just described my life. Everything I could see, touch, feel, smell, or do. When I brushed my teeth, I said, I am brushing. The water is cold. My mouth feels fresh. When I made breakfast, I crack the eggs. I use salt. I wait for it to cook. I eat slowly. Every sentence was simple. Every moment was practice. Every second, my brain was learning a new way to think. And soon, something started to change. At first, I had to force myself. I had to say the words out loud or in my head. But by day 4, I noticed something I never expected. I looked at my shoes, and my brain said, shoes. Not the word in Tagalog, not a translation, just the word shoes. It was automatic. When I heard someone speak English in public, I didn't get confused. I didn't feel lost. I started catching the words. I started feeling the meaning. I was still slow. But the wall in my head, that big wall between thinking and speaking, it had a small crack now, and that small crack gave me hope. Let me explain exactly what I did every day, so you can follow this too. 1. Morning thinking practice. As soon as I woke up, I spent 10 to 15 minutes just describing everything I saw and felt in English. My bed, my window, the light, my feelings. No grammar rules, just short, direct sentences. 2. Object talk. Throughout the day, every time I looked at an object, I said something about it in English. This is a table. It is brown. This cup is hot. I am drinking coffee. This phone is old. It has a crack. Even if I was in public, I did it silently in my mind. 3. Internal dialogues. I started having small, fake conversations in my head. For example, if I imagined someone asking me, "What are you doing?" I would reply in my head, "I am cooking. I am tired. I had a long day." These conversations helped me practice real-life situations like ordering food, talking to a friend, going for a job interview, asking for directions, explaining my feelings. Every night, I created new scenes in my head. I would imagine walking into a restaurant and saying, "Hi, can I see the menu?" I would imagine calling someone and saying, "Hey, how are you feeling today?" Even if no one was there, I was building a new language inside my brain. I changed everything around me into English. I changed my phone settings to English. I started watching videos without subtitles. I listened to slow English podcasts while eating. I followed English meme pages and tried to understand the jokes. I stopped following any content in my native language. Was it easy? No. Did I understand everything? Of course not. But every mistake made my brain work harder. I didn't understand every word, but I understood the meaning. And meaning is more important than perfection. When I saw the sentence, "I'm starving," I didn't know the word starving. But I guessed from the picture. It meant very hungry. And now that word is stuck in my mind forever. This is how a child learns. This is how I trained my brain too. Shadowing, my secret speaking weapon. One day I learned something called shadowing. Here's how it works. You play a short video in English. You pause after every sentence. You repeat the exact sentence in the same voice and emotion. I started doing this every evening for 10 minutes. I chose movie clips, interviews, short speeches. And I didn't just copy the words. I copied the feeling, the speed, the rhythm. After 7 days of shadowing, I spoke my first full sentence without thinking. I'm not sure if I can do it, but I will try anyway. That sentence came out of me, without translation. I smiled so hard I almost cried, because it meant one thing. My brain had started to think in English. In the final week of that month, something happened. I got a message from an old online friend, a girl I had met on a language exchange app. She said, "Hey, want to have a voice call this weekend?" Before, I would say no. Before, I would make an excuse. But this time, I said yes. I was still nervous. I still felt scared. But I wasn't the old me anymore. This time, I was ready to try. Her name was Isabel. She lived in Canada. We had been texting for a few weeks on a language exchange app. I had always avoided calling. I told her I was busy, or tired, or not feeling well. But the truth was, I was afraid. Afraid I'd freeze. Afraid I'd embarrass myself. Afraid she'd think I was stupid. But one evening she messaged me. "Hey, I was thinking, do you want to try a short voice call this weekend? Just 5 minutes." I stared at that message for 15 minutes. My heart was racing. My palms were sweating. My mind said, "Say no." But something inside me, something stronger, whispered, "You've trained for this. You're not perfect, but you're ready." And so I replied, "Yes, let's try." That entire night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the conversation in my head. "Hi, how are you?" "I'm fine. What about you?" "What's the weather there?" "It's hot today." I practiced these lines like an actor before a big scene, but the fear didn't go away. I felt like I was preparing for war, not a 5-minute call, because to me, that call was more than just a conversation. It was a test of my growth. It was the moment that would tell me, "Are you still the old Ethan? Or have you really changed?" The moment arrives. It was Sunday, 6:45 p.m. The call was scheduled for 7 p.m. I cleaned my room, washed my face, put on a clean shirt, even though it was just audio. I wanted to feel confident. At 6:58, my phone vibrated. Incoming call. Isabel, Canada. My finger hovered over the screen. I took a deep breath, and I answered. Hello? There was a pause. Then I heard her voice, clear, cheerful, kind. Hi, Ethan. Wow, so nice to finally talk to you. And in that moment, everything I practiced disappeared. I froze. Again. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. I tried to speak, but my tongue felt heavy. My heart was beating like a drum. Finally, I forced the words. Hi. Isabel? Yes. Nice to talk. Me too. It didn't sound fluent. It didn't sound natural, but it was real. She smiled through her voice. She said, Don't worry, take your time. I know it's hard at first. You're doing great already. Those words felt like medicine to my fear. I smiled, and slowly, I started speaking. The first 5 minutes. I told her about my day, very basic sentences. I woke up at 7, I went to work. I came back, I feel tired. She asked me simple questions. What kind of food do you like? Do you like the weather in your city? What's your favorite movie? And I answered. Slowly, but I answered. Sometimes I paused. Sometimes I made mistakes. Sometimes I said, wait, while trying to find the word. But I never gave up. And for every sentence I completed, I felt something grow inside me. Confidence. That 5-minute call became 18 minutes. And in those 18 minutes, I learned something powerful. Something I want every English learner to know. It's okay to be slow. I wasn't fast, but I was honest. I took my time. I said, wait. I need a second to find the word. And that's okay. You're not in a race. You're in a conversation. People don't need speed. They need understanding. It's okay to make mistakes. At one point, I said, I very like pizza. I knew it was wrong. She knew it was wrong. But you know what she did? She laughed kindly and said, You mean, I really like pizza? I said, yes, that's what I wanted to say. And just like that, I learned something new. Not from a textbook, not from a video, but from real connection. People don't judge. They help. The biggest lie we believe is that people will laugh at our English. But most people, especially native speakers, are impressed when you try. They respect your effort. Isabel didn't care that I wasn't perfect. She cared that I was present. And in those 18 minutes, she helped me more than 18 months of studying. Because she showed me that I don't need to be perfect to be understood. After the call. When the call ended, I sat there in silence. My heart was still racing, but I felt free. For the first time in my life, I had spoken English with a native speaker. Without fear, without shame, without quitting. And even though I made mistakes, I spoke. I listened. I replied. I lived. And I realized something that night. You don't become fluent in one day, but you win the war one sentence at a time. What I did after that. The next morning, I woke up early, and instead of just whispering to myself or doing fake conversations in my head, I recorded myself. Yes, I took my phone and hit record, and I spoke about my day in English. Today is Monday. I feel excited. Yesterday, I had my first English call. I was nervous, but I did it. I listened to that recording, and it was bad. My accent was strong. My words were slow. My grammar was messy, but it was my voice, in English, and I smiled, because that was progress. Now everything was clear. I didn't need 100 grammar books. I didn't need perfect lessons. I just needed a daily habit of thinking in English. The courage to speak, even if afraid. The willingness to be wrong. And the heart to keep trying, no matter how awkward it feels. That's how fluency is born, not in classrooms, but in the quiet courage of daily practice. So I made a new goal. Now I will create my own English world, one that I live in, speak in, think in, and grow in. And that's exactly what I did. Let me tell you how I did it. Every single detail. I turned my room into an English lab. When I walked into my room that night, I looked at it with a new purpose. My bed, my table, my mirror, my shelves. Everything in that room became a tool for learning. I took sticky notes and labeled objects in English. Door, window, curtain, pillow, switch. I wrote short phrases too. Turn off the light. Make your bed. Keep your desk clean. Every time I touched something, I whispered the word in English. I didn't do this once or twice. I did this every day, because repetition is what builds the brain. You don't build muscle by going to the gym once. You build it by showing up daily. The same is true for English. I turned my tiny room into a full-time English learning space. No teacher, no internet, just me, my brain, and my room. One of the most powerful things I ever did, and still do, is this. I stood in front of my mirror for 10 minutes every day, and I talked to myself in English. I didn't care how stupid it looked, because what I was doing was deeper than language. I was building confidence. I would look at myself and say, "Hi, Ethan, how are you today? I feel tired, I didn't sleep well, but I'm okay. You can do this, just speak slowly, don't worry about mistakes." Sometimes I pretended I was giving a presentation. Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about why learning English changed my life. Sometimes I imagined I was in a job interview. Why do you want this job? Because I want to grow. I want to work internationally. I believe I can do this. I even practiced arguments. No, I disagree. I think we should wait. Why? Give me a reason. Because the timing is not right. We need to prepare more. I was training my brain not just to think in English, but to argue, defend, express, and persuade, all while staring at myself. I did this every single day, and it changed everything. Because now, I wasn't afraid of speaking in front of others. I had already spoken in front of myself 100 times. Here's another thing I did that made a huge difference. I started creating daily voice recordings, like my own mini podcast. Nothing professional, no microphone, just my phone. I opened the recorder app, pressed the red button, and spoke freely. Today is Wednesday. I had a long day. At work, I talked to a customer who was very rude, and I didn't know how to explain something in English. I made a mistake, but I learned something new. Don't panic. Just pause, breathe, and try again. The first time I listened to my voice, I hated it. My accent felt strong. My voice sounded strange. I didn't like the way I pronounced words, but I kept going. Every night, I recorded 5 to 10 minutes of my thoughts. Sometimes about my day. Sometimes about a topic, like travel, culture, money, confidence. And slowly, I started noticing 3 big things. 1. My ideas started flowing faster. I didn't pause as much. My sentences came out more naturally. 2. My vocabulary grew. When I forgot a word, I wrote it down, searched it later, and used it the next day. 3. My fear of speaking disappeared because I was speaking to myself every day and learning from my own mistakes. Recording myself was like building a relationship with my English voice. And that voice got stronger, smoother, and more confident each day. You've probably heard this advice before. Watch English movies. But that's not enough. I didn't just watch English movies. I used them like a tool. And I'll tell you exactly how. Step 1. I chose movies I already loved. Because I knew the story, I didn't need to understand every word. Step 2. I watched 10 minutes only. I didn't try to watch the full movie. I played 10 minutes. That's all. And I focused on listening, pausing, and shadowing. Let me give you a real example from the movie The Pursuit of Happiness. Don't ever let somebody tell you, you can't do something, not even me, all right? I paused it. I said it out loud. Don't ever let somebody tell you, you can't do something, not even me, all right? I said it again, slower, then faster, then with emotion. Don't ever let somebody tell you, you can't do something. I wasn't just learning English. I was becoming English. A few weeks later, I joined some English learning Facebook groups and online forums, not to ask for grammar help, but to connect with people. And here's what I did. I posted short English paragraphs about my day. I asked simple questions like, what's your favorite childhood memory? I replied to others with thoughtful comments. I sent voice messages to learners from other countries. I gave feedback to others kindly. I didn't care if I made grammar mistakes. I just showed up every day, as a speaker, not a student. And people responded. They said, your English is simple but strong. You explain things so clearly. You speak with feeling. And I smiled, because this was the first time in my life that I was being seen, not as a silent learner, but as a real English speaker. This may sound small, but it was huge. I stopped saying, I'm learning English, and I started saying, I speak English, I'm improving, but I speak. Because identity shapes ability. If you keep saying, I'm learning, your brain believes you're always behind. But if you say, I speak, your brain works harder to prove it true. So I told myself, Ethan, you are not a student anymore. You are a speaker now. Speak like one, think like one, walk like one. After about 40 days of this system, something incredible happened. I was sitting in a cafe with a tourist who asked me for help with directions, and I responded in full English. Sure, just walk down this road, take the second left, and the museum will be right in front of you. It came out naturally. No hesitation, no translation, no fear. I sat back down and smiled, because that was the moment I realized. I am no longer just training my brain to think in English. Now I am living in it. I wasn't fluent, not yet, but I was alive in English. I could talk to myself. I could reply to messages. I could join conversations. And now, I wanted more. I didn't just want to practice anymore. I wanted to perform, and the universe gave me that chance. Exactly when I was ready. It was a Thursday afternoon. I had just come back from work and was eating my usual dinner, rice, eggs, and some vegetables. My phone buzzed. I checked the message. It was from a startup I had applied to months ago. I had completely forgotten about it. It said, Hi, Ethan. We reviewed your application. We'd like to invite you for a video interview this Saturday. The interview will be in English. Let us know if you're available. My heart skipped a beat. I read the message again, and again. Then I sat back in silence. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't prepared for it. And the old voice inside me returned. You can't do this. What if you freeze again? What if you mess up? But then the new voice, the stronger one, spoke softly. Ethan, you've been preparing for this every single day. You may not be perfect, but you are ready. I took a deep breath. typed my reply slowly, and pressed send. Yes, I'm available. Saturday works perfectly. I had 2 days, 48 hours to prepare for something I had feared for years. A full job interview in English, face-to-face on camera. But this time, I wasn't going to memorize answers like I did in the past. I wasn't going to write long scripts and try to speak like a robot. Instead, I created my own training method, based on the system that had already changed my life. Let me tell you everything I did, step by step. Step 1. I practiced answering questions out loud. I searched online for common job interview questions. Tell me about yourself. Why do you want this job? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Why should we hire you? But instead of writing the answers down, I stood in front of my mirror, pressed record on my phone, and spoke each answer out loud. Not once, not twice, 10 times. Each time I changed a few words, tried a different tone, corrected my grammar slightly, and spoke again. When I listened to my recordings, I didn't just focus on the words. I focused on my confidence, my tone, my speed, my clarity. I treated myself like a speaker, not a student. And with each repetition, I felt stronger. Step 2. I rehearsed with an imaginary interviewer. I pulled a chair in front of me and pretended someone was sitting there. I created the full scene. I sat with my back straight. I looked into the empty chair. I imagined someone asking me questions. Then I answered, "Thank you for the question. I'm Ethan. I come from the Philippines. I've been working in customer service for 2 years, and I'm now focused on building my career internationally." I acted out the full interview, like it was a movie. And I did this again and again, until it didn't feel like acting anymore. It felt real, because I made it real in my mind first. Step 3. I studied phrases for time and clarity. I knew I might forget some words during the real interview. So I prepared helpful English phrases I could use when I needed time to think. Phrases like, "That's a great question. Let me think for a moment. I'm not sure I've done that before, but here's what I think. Could you please repeat the question? I'd love to share more about that." These phrases saved me. They bought me time. They kept the conversation moving. And they made me sound calm, even when I was nervous. Step 4. I slept early and visualized success. The night before the interview, I didn't stay up all night practicing. I had learned by now that a tired mind cannot perform. So I ate early, took a warm shower, sat quietly for 15 minutes, and I closed my eyes and visualized the full interview. I imagined myself opening Zoom, smiling, listening carefully, answering slowly and clearly, and ending with confidence. I kept repeating in my mind, "You will do well. You are ready. You are enough." Then I went to sleep early and slept peacefully, because now I believed in myself. Not because someone told me I was good, but because I had trained my brain to think, speak, and live in English. Every single day. The interview day, Saturday morning, 9:58 a.m. I sat in front of my laptop, camera ready, water bottle next to me, notes beside me. My hands were shaking, but my heart was steady. At exactly 10 a.m., the Zoom call began. 3 people appeared on the screen, 2 women and 1 man. One of them smiled and said, "Hi, Ethan. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to learn more about you." I smiled back and replied, "Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here." And just like that, it started. Question 1. Tell us about yourself. I breathed deeply and began. My name is Ethan. I come from the Philippines. I've worked in customer support for over 2 years. I'm passionate about communication, learning, and working with international clients. Over the past few months, I've also trained myself to improve my English fluency, and I'm excited to grow in a global environment. It wasn't perfect, but it was clear, confident, and real. They nodded, smiled, and moved to the next question. Question 2. Why do you want this job? I answered slowly. Because I want to grow. I want to be in a company that challenges me and helps me improve. I've seen your company's values and I feel they match my own. Also, working with an international team helps me develop not just my skills, but also my thinking. The woman on the left smiled and wrote something down. I knew I had done well. Question 3. What's your weakness? This was tricky, but I was ready. I think sometimes I overthink small things. I always want to be perfect, but I'm learning that progress is more important than perfection. That's something I've improved by practicing English every day, speaking even when I'm not sure, learning from mistakes. They all smiled, because it wasn't just an answer. It was my truth. The final question. Do you have any questions for us? I replied, yes, I do. What does growth look like in your company? How can someone like me, who is learning fast, continue to improve once I'm inside? They were surprised. They said it was a great question. And that's when I knew. I wasn't just surviving this interview. I was owning it. After the interview. The call ended after 30 minutes. I thanked them again, closed the laptop, and sat back. My shirt was wet from sweat. My heart was still racing. But I had done it. I had just completed my first full English interview, and I hadn't memorized a single line. I had lived the answers. And for the first time in my life, I felt like I am not scared of English anymore. I don't just study this language. I speak it. I live it. I belong to it. I didn't expect a reply that soon. But the next morning, as I was making tea, my phone lit up. New email. Subject. Congratulations, Ethan. My hands began to shake again. I opened the message and read it slowly, word by word. We are pleased to inform you that you've been selected for the position. We were impressed with your confidence, clarity, and communication style. Welcome to the team. I dropped the spoon. I sat on the floor. And I cried. I didn't cry because I got a job. I cried because I had proven something to myself, something I had doubted for years. You don't have to be born into English. You can build English inside you. And when you do, your life will never be the same again. 2 weeks later, I was sitting in a virtual room with people from 5 countries: India, Germany, the United States, Singapore, and Canada. Everyone was speaking English, fast, clear, natural. The old Ethan would have left the meeting or muted himself the whole time. But this Ethan, the new Ethan, the real Ethan, he spoke. Yes, I agree with that. But I think we should wait 1 more week before we launch the project. The customer feedback wasn't complete yet. That sentence may sound normal to you, but to me, it was everything. Because those words came out of my mouth with 0 translation, no panic, no shame, no hiding, only confidence. And that's when I realized something huge. I am not learning English anymore. I am now living my life in English. Let me tell you what changed. Everything. Everything changed. 1. My job. I now work with clients from all around the world. I attend meetings, I write emails, I solve problems, and I do all of this in English. Not because I'm the smartest, but because I kept showing up, even when it was hard. 2. My friends. I made real friendships with people from different countries. We talk, laugh, share stories, all in English, and it's beautiful. Because now I'm not just practicing English. I'm using it to connect. Heart to heart. 3. My confidence. I used to look down when someone spoke English. Now I look them in the eye. I used to stay silent. Now I lead conversations. I used to hate my voice. Now I speak in meetings, in groups, in videos. Because English didn't just improve my speaking. It healed my confidence. It gave me a voice. 4. My identity. I no longer say, I'm trying to learn English. Now I say, I am an English speaker. Because it's not about being perfect. It's about owning your progress. And I've earned that identity. Sentence by sentence, mistake by mistake, day by day. Now I want to tell you something from my heart. Not as a teacher, not as an expert, not as someone successful, but as someone who has walked the same road you're walking right now. Listen to me carefully, please, because this could change your life. 1. Stop waiting to feel ready. You will never feel ready. You will always think, I need more vocabulary first. I need better grammar first. I need more confidence first. But the truth is, confidence comes after you speak, not before. Fluency comes after you fail, not before. Growth comes after you begin, not before. So stop waiting, start speaking, even if your voice shakes, even if you only know 50 words. Start now. 2. Speak badly, but speak. Yes, speak badly. Say wrong sentences, make mistakes, get stuck, but keep speaking. Because if you wait to be perfect, you will stay silent forever. The people who succeed in English are not the ones who are perfect. They are the ones who are brave. 3. You don't need a school. You need a system. You don't need to go to an expensive English class. You need a daily system that works. Here's the system I followed. Think in English. Describe everything around you. Speak to yourself, in the mirror, in your head, with your phone. Record yourself. Start with 1 minute a day. Shadow native speakers. Repeat after videos. Use real English every day. No more fake textbook sentences. Don't stop, not for 1 day, not even when you feel bad. Do this. And I promise you, in 6 months, your brain will start to change. And when your brain changes, your world changes. 4. You don't need motivation. You need a reason. Motivation fades. Your why keeps you going. So ask yourself right now, why do I want to speak English? What will it give me? What pain will it remove from my life? What dream will it bring closer? Hold that reason in your heart and return to it every time you feel like giving up. 5. You are not alone. I was just like you. I was scared. I was silent. I was ashamed. But I kept going, and now I'm here, speaking to you in English, not because I'm better than you, but because I refuse to quit. And if I can do it, so can you. Remember, English is not just a language. It is a key. It opens doors you never imagined. It brings people together. It creates opportunities. It changes how the world sees you and how you see yourself. But the most beautiful thing English gave me was freedom. The freedom to express myself. The freedom to connect. The freedom to live without fear. And that freedom is waiting for you too. If you are watching this video or reading this story, I want you to remember something forever. You are not too late. You are not too slow. You are not too old. You are not too broken. You are just one decision away from changing your life. The decision to start thinking in English, to stop translating, to start trusting yourself, to speak, even when it's uncomfortable. You don't have to do it all today. You just have to do something today, and then again tomorrow. And one day, like me, you will speak English without fear, and your life will never be the same again. This was my story. This was my journey. And now, it's your turn. If this story touched your heart, if it gave you hope, if it reminded you that you can speak English too, no matter where you start from, then don't let this video end here. Let this be the beginning of something new for you. I create stories like this to help you grow, learn, and believe in yourself. So if you want more stories that teach you English in a real, powerful, and emotional way, subscribe now, not just for me, but for you, for your dream, your journey, your voice. And if this story helped you even a little, like it, share it, and let someone else feel the same hope you feel right now. Because one story can change a day, and sometimes one story can change a life.